How's it going, everybody? You know, it's Friday. I hope you guys have a great, amazing start to the weekend. As you can see by the title, I did end up taking a loss. I took two trades. Last night, I hopped on the Asia session, and I was just looking, marking stuff out, and then my my confluences ended up lining up. We had the sweep. We had the inversion and CISD. And I entered right off that, but I ended up sizing up because Asia is so like low on points. So I put in like 22 contracts, but 22 contracts and you only lose 300. Like, that's not a pretty good return. And I did end up taking an L, as I should have focused on the higher time frame, as there was a 5 minute gap, causing us to go back lower. And yeah, I took an L last night. I lost around like 300. And today, going into market open, um, yeah, let's get into the trade recap for today. Let's see what market open. Boom. Oh, no, I don't know. And then I lost 700 now for this trade. As we can see, market open. This is a really pretty choppy day. This is a pretty unexpected move that happened on market open. It looked like we are going bearish, but we came down, swept these lows, as we had a break of structure to the downside, but there was just lows and wanted to come higher. Overall, like personally, I thought we were going bearish as going into before pre-market. We ended up breaking structure to the downside, and we just had a bunch of gaps causing us to go lower that we've been respecting. So overall, I was going bearish, and this move was totally unexpected for me. And after market open, we completely just pump and just take out these highs and continue to come back lower, tap into this gap, come back higher. And the confidence I came in on the day was let me see, 1 hour. We were respecting these gaps that we've currently been respecting. As we've been respecting these gaps, we wicked it, came back lower. We had we just came back, whipped it, came back lower, changing the state. But I did not answer right off that. I pulled out my fib. I just let it run. Pulled out my fib on this low. I wanted to come back, tap into this, OTE here. And we ended up doing so. And as you can see, this wick ended up tapping me in, as I had a couple overlapping confluences as we tapped back into the CISD and this small gap here, as you can see. This small gap here, tapping into the CISD. But, going into discount or premium to sell. And, we ended up taking that L. And, it tapped us in. It was playing around right here. And then I didn't notice again that it was on news. I'm not, focusing on nothing. And, we also had this 5 minute gap that we tapped into this and then came back higher. So yeah, overall, it's just a bunch of confluences that we wanted to go higher, go in market open. But I guess I'm just too focused on I guess I could see a pattern that I'm doing is I'm too focused on the time frame that I'm taking the trade on, and I'm not taking a look at the other important time frames and continue to switch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and to see what I'm like other things that could be causing us to go the opposite way. And yeah, I guess I can see a pattern of the things that I've been doing is just focusing on too much on the time frame that I'm taking the trade on and not switching back and forth. So that's another lesson that I learned. But overall, I thought it was pretty great confluences. Going in, we had a couple overlapping confluences that got me this entry, but there's no certainty in this market. As we had this sweep, we have this OTE, and we have this CASD. It could come back, tap that CASD by itself, and could come back lower, but we also had a gap in that. So it was like a couple overlapping confluences that I ended up taking that trade on. And I just, wanted to take a quick kind of 2RR, pretty much 2RR trade. And, but God had other plans. And, just grateful. It's Friday. We're going to enjoy our Friday today and just continue to study and be better. You know what I mean? So I hope everybody has a great weekend. As we can see on these charts, we're starting to consolidate again after accumulating after this big move up. How much points was this move? 250 point move. Damn. In the span of like what? 15 minutes? That's crazy. But yeah, I took the L today. $700 L on this trade on my eval, and last night I took another L. And I'm not really, like, for me personally, I'm not really could catch myself revenge trading. I genuinely do see the confluences that cause me to enter, and I'm not mad about that because I'm spotting things out. Although it's not working, again, this is a game of probabilities, not certainty. So I guess I just have to pay more attention on the other time frames that are causing the price to go opposite direction, and that's the problem or the mistake I gotta learn from and continue to be better from. But yeah, overall, pretty bad price action, in my opinion. There's only one move and nothing else that's happening. So, and it was an unexpected move, to be honest. But grateful to be able to get to be able to be on the charts and be awake and breath in my lungs to continue to learn. So yeah, I pray for an amazing day for everybody. And yeah, God bless.